on this? There we go.
Right.
Hello and welcome to everybody around the world. Greetings from Norwich and greetings to you wherever you are. Here we are yet again on our 41st meeting. Some people have been to nearly all of those meetings.
That's me.
Which is incredible. So we're still here and we're going to be sharing ideas today. And very kindly, Josie has offered to share some ideas about some teaching that she's recently done. And has anybody here got any questions or ideas of things that they would like to ask about during our 1 hour meeting? Because I'm always open to ideas. Let me know. You can let me know at any time during the meeting. Just just break in or send me a message. Great. Okay, so I'm going to hand over to Josie because she's going to tell us a little bit about, well, a lot about what she's been doing. And I'm also going to chip in from time to time. I've just got a message from Anna here saying that she's taking part, but she's on a bus and so she can't talk to us. But yes, Anna, it's fine to follow the meeting. No problem. Great. Okay, over to you, Josie.
Okay. Hi. Well, most of you know me, but if you don't know me, my name is Josie. I live in Hong Kong and I've been here for about 26 years. Not quite that long, but about that long. And I've been teaching in primary school mostly, but I also did a master's in teaching Shakespeare at Warwick University online. And that was really great because now I'm teaching Shakespeare in secondary school as well. So I've got two schools, a primary school and a secondary school. And yeah, it's quite good fun to teach in different atmospheres, different settings, different age groups. And they all like Shakespeare, I have to say. Why? A lot of teachers tell me they don't like it because they had to learn it behind a desk. And the way I teach it is drama, through drama. And David knows all about that because he has to do it himself. So, okay, so brief, that was me. And I also set up a company a few years ago, about 6 years ago, and it's not been continuously going, I have to say. But whenever I get a chance to teach through my company, I do. And it's called Shakespeare Experts. And of course, I use all the things that I learned at my master's degree, during my master's degree. So now I have two groups where I teach Shakespeare outside my actual schools. No, sorry, what am I saying? Outside the regular schools, which is one primary school and one secondary school, I also have other groups that I teach, and I use my company for that. One of the groups that I teach, I have been teaching for the last 5 weeks, is on Hong Kong Island, and it's actually a very prestigious Band 1 school. And that means that the children are very intelligent and they're like high up in the rankings, basically. I'm not supposed to say which school it is because I will share some videos with you, but we're not going to record that bit because I'm not really officially allowed to share these videos in public. But I think it's okay in a small group like this. And if it's not recorded, then you can't share it anyway. So it's just for your information, really. So I did 6 lessons, and the group was made up out of S1 and S2 students, which is like 12 to 13-year-olds, 14-year-olds maybe. And one of the reasons that David got really interested in it was because I did ghosting. And I thought this was such an interesting thing to do. And we did it online all together. Some of you were there. And it's a really great way of teaching kids to learn their lines. they don't actually have to know the lines as such. And then the second session, they have to try and say it in their own words. And I have some examples of one little group doing it in their own words, and another group doing, for the video session, doing the ghosting. But not all students in that group used a ghost. However, the girl playing bottom, she used it, and it's hilarious. Actually, it's very funny. The ghost follows her very closely, and that wasn't really my idea, but I thought, okay, why not? Was that the idea, David? I just want to ask, is that right? Should she have followed her really closely?
Followed her around as she moved. Yes.
Yes. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So she did it right. Okay, fine.
Shall
thought,
I break in just to give
yeah,
you a short
please. Yeah.
pause
Yeah,
and
please.
explain what ghosting is?
Yeah.
I'm sure you were probably going to do this anyway, but just to give
No,
people
go.
a kind of variety of voices.
Yes.
So ghosting was originally developed by the Royal Shakespeare Company, and I think Josie would have studied it when she did her masters. Because what was the university you were at, Josie?
Warwick.
Warwick. Yeah,
Yeah.
because they worked very closely, I think, with the RS.
Yes. Yes, it was a combined
So this was
master's.
one of many methods that they experimented with as a way to introduce Shakespeare to young people and children. And the idea with ghosting is that you can perform a script without even reading the script.
Yes.
And that's because each actor in the scene has another member of the group who is assigned to them as a quote ghost, and that person doesn't act, but they speak the lines to the actor. So if you know the term prompt or prompter, a prompter or prompt is somebody who tells actors their lines if they forget them. And sometimes if you have rehearsals of plays, you'll have a prompter who sits just to the side of the stage, and if the actor forgets a line, they say line, and the prompter shouts out the next few words to remind the actor. Well, this is a bit like that, except the ghost actually speaks all the lines but broken up into fragments. So if I was Hamlet doing the soliloquy, the famous soliloquy, the ghost might say to me, to be or not to be, and then I say, to be or not to be. The ghost says, that is the question. That is the question. So the ghost says the words in a very neutral voice, and then the actor can speak them with feeling. So I'm going to hand back to Josie, because I think that will probably spark off a few things for her to talk about now.
Right, so I've got two clips which I'll show you. So if you could stop the recording.
Zoom. There we go. So so that was really good to see that those students really understood how to do ghosting, and they
Yeah.
were really getting into character.
Yeah.
And we couldn't clearly hear what they were saying. There was a bit of an echo going on, but
In the first bit, yeah. It's
it
on the
was,
stage, so
yeah, but it was really nice to see what was happening. So you had one person who was speaking the original script, and then the actor was repeating the phrases that were fed to her, very much in character, which was great. And then the next stage of ghosting is where the actor paraphrases the words that are spoken to her and changes them into modern English. Hence, there was one section there where, as Josie said, the actor said, over my dead body, which was her words for describing part of the script. Yes. So now the approach may or may not be new to some people who are in the meeting. So does anybody have any questions about what they've heard and seen so far? If not, then that's great. And Josie, I think it would be great if you could share your screen and talk us through your lesson plan a little bit.
Sure.
And it's great that you're happy to share it, which we will do as well. But I think it's really nice if you can just introduce it to us, please.
Okay, so all right. So this one, the first one I'm going to share with you is the one on the stage in the hall. And as David said, it was very echoey in there, unfortunately. So you couldn't hear everything, but this is what they were supposed to do. Okay. Wait. Okay, so here we are. So it's a 90-minute lesson. I have Shakespeare diaries, and they're like this.
Mm. Maybe you
And
show them to us afterwards when we
later, yeah, I'll show you later. And I
Yeah.
used those as well because when the kids were filming in the second bit that you saw, I didn't want the girls to be all chatty and all that. So I said, okay, fill in your diary because I haven't had a chance to do it. And I brought them some gold and silver pens and they sat there very quietly, which was exactly what I wanted. Yes. So, okay, so what I do is I have posters, big posters that I put on the wall, and they're pictures and there's some phrases like Overdale, Overhill, Overdale, over Park, Overpale, that sort of phrase from Midsummer Night's Dream where the fairies meet Puck. And they are all stuck around the wall, and we do games with those phrases. And the kids throw a ball, say a name of another person, and they say the phrase, and then everybody says the phrase. This is one way of learning, getting their tongues around Shakespeare's language, and it's just a very playful way of doing it. And here, the ghosting. Here we are, ghosting. So I did the Titania and Oberon fight because there's only two actors who speak in that. That meant we only needed 4 people really, or 3. You could have one person ghosting for 2 people, but I can't remember. They all worked it out by themselves. So round 1, as we already said, quiet, pausing, punctuation, good articulation, and the actor speaks the line as it's given to them. Stage 2, after going through the whole speech this way, repeat the exercise with the ghost feeding the lines. However, the actors then say it in their own way, in their own words, and you play it again without the ghosts, and then they can either improvise the scene or they can say it in the Shakespearean lines, but the chances are that they don't remember exactly what those lines are. So you can play with it, and I think we spent quite a long time with it on that second day. So that was my day 2 where we actually did the ghosting, and then this one was the video, as I said. And as I already explained, I thought doing the ghosting meant they didn't need to use the scripts, but unfortunately they still did. So you can't sort of plan everything, unfortunately. You can hope that they do what you ask, but I thought we just better get on with it, and it worked okay. So but they enjoyed the activity, so that's the main thing, I think. Okay, what else? So my diaries, let me show you my diaries quickly. I'm quite happy to share these things if you like.
Yeah, you showed this to me earlier on, and I thought they could be really useful for people.
Yeah. So I can put some things, maybe I'll put them on the Facebook, David.
Yeah, that
tomorrow.
would be great. Yeah.
Yeah, and then everybody can see them. Oh, what am I doing? Stationery? Yes, stationery. Okay, here's my diary. Okay, so this is a public domain picture. I create these diaries myself, and I usually use like aims that the school has. Now, in this case, the school didn't really have any specific aims. I could do what I liked because I know the head of English quite well, and she trusts me. So I just put together a few pages, like write a short account of 2 activities. So they write those, and then describe 2 characters, which characters you played, and what did you enjoy most. Write 5 quotes. So there's like, they're very simple tasks, really. And then this one is my favorite one, where they have to write a character letter from one character to another. And it's sort of, I feel this is quite important in, especially in a prestigious school like that. So the teachers know that you're not just doing a bit of nonsense drama. You know, they know Shakespeare is not nonsense drama, but it's good to get their head around and trying to understand why the character wants to do this, why you're doing this, while I'm doing this, because, you know, it makes them think about the character they're playing. And I think that's really useful, and it's fun. So I told them they could comment on another character's behavior or praise them for a behavior. And so you got lots to do with Puck and Oberon and Titania. And then just a comment on what they thought of the workshop. So that's my thing. And then I had 2 spare pages in which I gave a space to draw and a caption with the illustration, and then notes for whatever they wanted to make notes of. So that's my diary.
Yeah, I love that.
Okay. So I will share that. Are you interested, guys, in me sharing this? Yes or no? Yeah, okay.
I think I can see some nods going on here.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I'm sure people will find that useful.
Okay. All right. So I'll put that on the Facebook page later. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I thought that's basically it. You can ask me any question you like.
Could you unshare then, please?
Yeah, I'll unshare. Yes.
Great.
Yes.
What would be nice is if you could show us your real diary that you've got there with you now that the screen is bigger. You said you had a diary to show us.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Okay, so this is one of the things that the girls did. So you can see the little gold lines and stuff. They were busy with their gold pens. And I'll show you what. Okay. I enjoyed playing games that we passed the ball. So the game that I explained to you earlier, where I have posters on the wall, they choose a sentence, and they like that. That's a very popular game because it basically means that they don't have to, they're not expected to suddenly speak a script, you know, suddenly do act out something they've never seen before. And of course, Shakespeare is a bit more challenging than any other script. So I think even these kids who are quite good, and their English is very good, so even they appreciate that kind of warm-up. So this is one of my warm-ups that I do. And then here, I played the boy today. My favorite character is Titania because she did not give up when she encountered difficulties.
Yeah, excellent. No,
Yeah,
good.
so there's some lovely lovely ideas there. And what I'm planning to do is take pictures of scan in each of the diaries and keep those, and then I can share those at another time.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Josie. That was really helpful.
Okay.
No, it's really good. Because I put these ideas out all the time to people, and it's really helpful to see them actually being used with students in different contexts. And as you pointed out to me earlier, these students were more able to do ghosting than some of the students who have more basic language needs.
Yes, yes.
Now I can see that Jane has raised her hand. So Jane, did you want to tell us something?
I wanted to just, that was really interesting, Josie.
Thank you.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you something. Presumably, okay, you know, presumably your class would have some kind of pre-knowledge or access to a synopsis of Midsummer Night's Dream before they actually acted out practically that, with the ghosting activity. How did you, in your workshop, how did you go about setting that up? How did you scaffold them into being able to ghost?
Okay, so no, they had no prior knowledge of it at all. One girl she knew the Taming of the Shrew. I didn't show you that video, but she was very good at playing Bottom. She was basically the best actress in it. But point is that what I do is I have these little activities, and that's why I can share you my my lesson plans if you like. I put them all in the thing if you like. What I do is I have these short activities, and we do something called ensemble reading. Now, I don't know if you've heard of that, but that is what you do. You stand in a circle, and each person reads punctuation mark to punctuation mark, and it's got to be read as if it's one person speaking. So it takes a little bit of practice, actually. The first time it doesn't go that way at all. But the second or third time they get it. And what it does is that they have to be on the ball all the time. And amazingly, reading a script like that, and I edit them very, very, very severely. So there's it's not a huge script, it's like maybe an A4 size, that's it. I try and keep them short. It doesn't matter if it's the whole script. It's really giving them an idea of who Shakespeare is. What are the characters like? And we do some character work, and we do these ensemble readings. And at the end of one ensemble reading, they understand what's going on, which is really amazing because, as I said, they have to keep with it the whole time. They cannot zone out at all. And because they don't have to read a part and therefore maybe a huge chunk and get tangled in the words, they just have 2 words or 5 words, and it's easy. It's very easy
So they
to
just
do.
go round the circle in order.
Yes, right.
Yeah. Okay.
And then when we finish reading that script, the next person starts again.
Yeah.
So you read 3 times, but they never read the same bit, which really works. And by 3 times or so, they almost know what they're reading. And then I get them to, I teach them a blocking technique, and they get on with it. I've got my blocking techniques as well, which I can also send you on Facebook. And I've got
Seems
loads
like
of
there's a lot to unpack here. But yes, Jane, would you like to follow up?
Yes, I would actually. Yeah. Okay. First of all, I'd like to say that I think, Shakespeare, I mean, those characters are so multi-layered.
Yes.
If I was playing Bottom, let's say, it would benefit me as learner stroke actor to have some kind of, even like a 2-liner or even a 1-liner in terms of a synopsis of
I do
bombastic, humorous, whatever it was, just a couple of words to hang my performance on. So I just thought maybe that could be something to consider in possibly another warm-up drama game, as part of your workshop. So that would be the one thing. Okay. I like the idea. I mean, it's always nice to read as one voice. Okay, and I've forgotten what else I was going to ask you.
Well, let's go back to Josie, because I think she said that she does do something like that.
Oh yes.
I'll give a very, very quick sort of one-liner, as you say, before I start. But I don't really see these kids before the lesson, and I don't want to overwhelm them. So to be honest, I like them discovering who the characters are. So I do give them a tiny synopsis of the scene, but because, as you say, it's so multi-layered, you can only give them a little bit. Now, I only had 4 lessons of an hour and a half with these kids. And so I had 4 scripts, which is quite a lot. But because these were very intelligent girls, I could do it. but they all chose Bottom and Titania in the end. They didn't want to do any of the other scripts,
Mhm.
which was interesting. I would have chosen Titania and Oberon, but that's me.
Yeah.
So they chose that one, and it was much more complicated, but they thought it was all very interesting because I gave them the head, the donkey head.
Yeah, well, that would probably
Yeah, that did
motivate
it.
them.
Yes,
Yeah.
that motivated.
Yeah.
Yeah. So who is Bottom? He is an actor who's trying, an amateur actor who is trying to perform or actually practice a play, and he's very, very what's the word? Arrogant. You know,
Yeah.
he's arrogant. He thinks he can
Mm.
play everything, and then there you go. You got Puck, who's the naughtiest fairy in the wood, and
Mhm.
he sees Bottom and he thinks, "Ha, really?" Puts the donkey head on him, and there we
Mm.
go. So yeah, it's just you. There's so much you can say, and yet you can't really say that much because then you overwhelm them with information.
Yeah. Okay, well that's really, really helpful.
Okay.
Jane, did you have anything else that you wanted?
Yeah, you spoke, Josie, you spoke of blocking exercises. I was just, I mean, as one facilitator to another, I mean, I was just, you know, wondering what sort of blocking exercises you found useful in that particular context.
Here we are. Here's one. Let me try and share this again.
Okay.
I think I've lost some people. I don't know where.
No, you're okay. I can see the screen,
Okay.
and
So
everybody's still watching. They just have
Mm.
to switch their cameras on.
okay. So we've got a 5-point chase, which is an RSC thing. I've got the RSC toolkit for teachers, and it's brilliant. And at the back, we've got all these kinds of blocking exercises and stuff. And so the first bit is to stand still. You stand opposite, for instance, another character. Second one is take a step towards another character, take a step away from another character, turn your back on another character, and turn towards a character. Now, kids, as you know, are famous for standing absolutely still reading their scripts. And I always tell them they're not allowed to. That's partly why I do my ensemble reading, because they are already familiar with the words and the posters on the wall, so they have passive learning going on all the time. And then they get their script and they try out these blocking exercises, and this helps them to not stand still, to just get on with it. Yeah, the stand still, I said, please ignore this one because I don't want you to stand still.
Yeah.
So, we go on like that and say, so when do you think this character would step towards the other character? Or when would they step away? So you could talk to them about that, and they try it out, and I go around the groups and say, okay, yeah, that works, or that doesn't work, or how about doing this? But I think there's a lot of value in getting the kids to discover for themselves. I know what you're saying, and I agree with you, but there's so little time, and I try and balance telling them things, but also letting them discover how things should work. Now I've got another one, which is also, this is also a RSC thing. They're actually, all of them are RSC things. So punctuation shift is like this. You walk around the room with pace and energy. You read the speech or script line aloud. When you come to a full stop, you turn 180 degrees, as if a change of thought. At a comma, you turn 90 degrees. At a question mark, and this, it doesn't say that in the book, but I added this. A question exclamation mark. Decide to walk straight ahead after a pause, or turn to the character you're asking the question of, exclaiming to, or turn to go in a different direction. So basically choose what you want to do.
That's lovely. Yeah.
Yeah. And it really works well with the Oberon and Titania speech, I think.
What I
It
think
works
is
really
nice about this is that it encourages the children to look at the punctuation
Yeah,
and to think about why it's there, and to
yeah.
realize that when we talk, people
Yeah,
do naturally have commas in their
right.
conversations, and they have full
Exactly.
stops. Um,
Exactly.
and the other thing that is great about this game, as I'm sure you know, but to actually speak the lines and walk around the space gives you a feeling of a movement, the movement of the speech and the development of the ideas. So
Yes.
afterwards, when you then come to speak those lines again, you have that feeling. You remember
Yeah,
how you traveled around the room and where you
exactly.
stopped and where you changed directions. And that it physicalizes the thought process that's going on behind the speech.
Yes, exactly. And that's why I get them to do it. Whatever group, whatever ability, I never allow them to stand still for very long because it doesn't
That's a good
work.
idea.
Yeah.
Could you unshare your screen again then?
Yes, sorry. Yes, of course.
Yeah, thank you. That was excellent again. I was just going to show the
Yes.
RSC Shakespeare Toolkit, which many
Yes.
of you will know, but it's this great big fat book, as you can see, and it has in it lots and lots of worksheets,
Yeah. It's
script
brilliant.
extracts, and so on. I'm trying to show you this. There we go.
And the CD-ROM.
Yeah, there's a CD-ROM with it if you can find anywhere to play a CD-ROM these
Yes,
days.
that's the trouble. Yes.
But for example, in the back of the book, as Josie was talking about that, I looked up and it's got the 5-point chase that she was talking about
Yes.
with a
Yeah.
full description of it. So it's not a cheap book. You know, originally it was selling for something like £50, but I think over the years it's come down in price. And also you can
Oh,
find
worth
different, yeah, places or do sell it for cheaper, but it's a book that hasn't aged. You know, it's still really useful,
Yeah.
not just for Shakespeare, but all of those games are brilliant for anybody exploring a script, a story, or characters.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would highly recommend that.
There's
So
one page in it there's Midsummer Night's Dream, Macbeth, and Romeo and Juliet in there.
yeah,
And there's one page in the Midsummer Night's Dream where you have, and Jan knows this as well, there's a page where it gives you ideas of what noises you could find in the magic woods. And it's lovely. You can get the kids, if you have time, you get the kids to get some instruments together, or go home and think of a sound that they could make. You give them a list of those sounds and they try them out. They can use their body, they can use their voice, they can use anything they like, or they can use an instrument.
yeah,
And then you put them together like a little orchestra.
yeah,
And what I did was I used that as background music for Helena chasing Demetrius into the woods.
yeah.
And it works really lovely because it gets the actors in the mood.
Well, there's a hell of a lot that you've
Yeah.
taught us today, Josie. A lot for people to think about.
Mm.
And what I'm bearing in mind now is that other people haven't had a chance to talk to.
Oh, I know. I know.
But that's all right, because that's what we were doing today, and I don't think any of that time was wasted. But what I'm thinking would be good, it's always nice when we break into breakout groups. And I feel like we don't necessarily have to produce anything today because there's not a lot of time. But if I put people into a few breakout groups, it's great just for getting to know each other, maybe for talking about, you know, whether those ideas are ideas that you would use, but also maybe just to catch up with some of the things that people have been doing themselves. So really a kind of chat group, if you like. So does that sound all right for people if I just put you into groups? number one, you can have a chat about what we've done today and whether there are some things there that you would like to use. And number two, if there's anything else that you'd like to raise or discuss. So let me just find the breakout groups and put you into them. So let's do this. Let's try. Yeah, I'm going to put you into 3 different rooms just for about 15 minutes, and then we could come back and have a bit of feedback.
That was good.
It was nice talking to you.
You too. You too.
Yeah.
Oh, hi, Lakshmi. How are you? Lakshmi is in Hong Kong as well. Turn you muted.
Lakshmi.
Oh yeah, I was muted. So and
Yeah,
Lakshmi
sorry.
was too. That always
Yeah,
happens
hi.
when you come
Hi,
back.
Josie. How are you doing?
All right, but I'm a bit overwhelmed and I'm not very well right now. I've got a terrible cold. So apart from that, I'm fine.
Oh,
Still
okay.
alive.
Well, more than alive, I think. You gave us so much today.
Oh,
So you deserve a nice hot toddy after this.
oh
And
yes, please. But I have to go to bed. Huh.
Is
that's
it
what I'm.
where? What time? What time is it by you, Josie?
Now nearly 10.
10 o'clock. Okay.
Nearly, yeah.
Yeah.
9:50, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
So I know for
But I-
David it's sort of lunch, and
Yeah,
for
I
us
have to get up at
afternoon.
5:30, which is
Yeah, that is
Yeah.
shockingly early.
yeah.
Well, I managed to visit 2 of the breakout rooms, and I heard people sharing their experiences and what they're up to. And Jane, what are you working on at the moment?
I was just telling them I've just done a show with my first year university students set on a cruise ship to Portuguese island, and it was great fun dealing with socially conscious issues in a fun way, working on scripts that were initially AI generated and they'd written into them. So we'd workshopped with them over about 9 weeks till performance.
Wow, that is cutting edge.
Different,
drama
yes.
in there. That's
It was
pretty
fun.
amazing.
Yeah, they did great. Yeah, they did great. It was good.
So my interest is piqued by the AI scripts. Were they any good?
Yes.
No, and that was the thing. They had to do a full-on reflective project. You know, they had to write, you know, as part of their directing portfolio or their drama portfolio for that. And the majority said that they hadn't found ChatGPT that helpful because, you know, I mean, it is devoid of, you know, the humor and the humanity and the, you know, so they got very flat material out of it. And then we had to, you know, so that, I mean, they obviously keyed in as the prompts, you know, and they got better at keying in better prompts, actually. And then with a lot of them, they'd done so much writing into the scripts for their final production scripts that they did a bit of reverse engineering, you know, back to what AI might have given them, you know. So it was a very interesting project, and I think great for them as young drama teachers and, you know, people who are going to carry that forward to see the limitations of ChatGPT in that context.
Yeah.
Mm.
No, that's really interesting.
Really good.
It makes me wonder, I'd like to ask whether anybody else in the room has used
Mhm.
ChatGPT or AI in any context in their teaching.
No, not yet.
No?
It's
Okay.
coming
I
probably.
I've used it to create lesson plans.
Okay, yeah.
Really?
Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I have.
Oh,
Um,
well, why not?
It's okay. You just have to tell them like I have to teach like past perfect or present perfect. Can you give me a lesson plan for that? And it kind of gives you an idea. And I just had to do it for lesson observation. I had to give it to my panel head. So I just cut paste and gave it to her. So
Wow.
it
Okay. No,
What did
saved me
she
a lot.
say? What did she
Yeah.
say?
Nothing.
What
It's basically they just I wasn't supposed to teach that, they just wanted a kind of a model lesson plan to do. And so if you're pressed for time, I think it's a good place to go.
Mhm.
And if you're not really going to use it and you just want a basic like a framework, it gives you the framework on how to work on it. Like, and then you can fill in whatever you want to afterwards.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Nice.
I've used it very rarely, but I have found it surprisingly effective for planning drama workshops even. And it will come up with things that, dare I say, it might have even learnt from my website. Because
Yeah.
I remember putting in, a request for a drama workshop. I can't remember what the content was, but some of the way that the sections were written up, I thought, that sounds incredibly familiar. That's
Mm.
just the way I would write it,
Oh, yeah.
And, after all, that's where ChatGPT and AI is getting its information. It's gleaning from websites. So it's not surprising.
Mm.
I did also, you play around with these tools. With the graphics tool, I was using one called Midjourney that is quite well known.
Mm.
And this creates graphics. And actually, I've been using it probably for the last 4 months or more to create graphics for all of the newsletters that I send out every week.
And this
So-
is GPT.
Yeah, so it's not
Oh, wow.
ChatGPT, it's called Midjourney. And
Midjourney. Okay.
amazingly, it can create photographs of students doing drama.
Wow.
And it all depends on how you phrase what you type in and what you ask for. So usually sometimes it might take me an hour to get what I want. So I'll type in a prompt. So for example, I might say, students standing in a circle throwing a ball to each other, for example.
Mhm.
And then it'll show me something, and it will be, I don't know, it might be showing students in a school. So then I'll say students in a drama studio, and I might say mixed race, and I might say teenagers, or I might say 8 to 10-year-olds, and it will then readjust the image and put in different characters, different age groups. And the only thing you have to beware of, I don't know if you've not heard anybody talk about this before, it's getting better, but sometimes some of the characters will have more fingers on their hand than they should have. So
Oh, yeah.
you have to look really carefully
Mm.
and make sure. Some people will have 3 legs or
Oh no.
7 fingers, but you can
Mm.
keep asking for variations, and eventually it will produce what you're looking for. So if you're interested, I could show you an image,
Okay,
a
yeah.
typical image
I'd
that
love to
I've
see.
created. Let me just find one. Right, here we go. Okay, yeah.
And then there's no copyright on it.
Well, thing is, there is no copyright on it.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me see if I can just open
Interesting.
this in an app that will open it fairly quickly.
What's the name again?
I'll hold on a sec. It's called
Mid-journey.
Mid
Mid-journey.
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 Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
You do really have to subscribe to it.
Oh.
Okay.
But for me, that's okay because you know, this is part of my work. So let me just share my screen and show you an image.
Oh,
And,
wow.
yeah, can you see that?
That's great.
So this
That's
is one
really
that I
good.
made. I didn't make it, but I asked the AI to create it. So as you can see, it's for a game called Molding a Character.
Wow.
And it said 3 sculptors making a statue. Yeah. And then
Brilliant.
gave me what it gave me initially was 3 elderly men creating, you know, something. So it sometimes will go for stereotypes. So then
Yeah.
I, you know, changed the age group, and I said something about maybe, you know, multicultural, try and get
Yeah.
different skin tones and so on. And then the text itself I add on afterwards, because at the moment it can't create text. It can only create nonsense text. So if you ask it to, you know, type in, if you say and have a caption molding a character, it will just throw lots of random letters on there. So usually I create without the letters and then add them on afterwards.
Yeah. Okay.
So if you get any emails from me on a regular basis, I send out a drama game every week. Most of those will be created in that way.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's how I'm using AI. Right, well, look, it's an hour and we've had a wonderful journey through the drama universe. Jenny's got her hand up and I don't think she's waving goodbye. I think she wants to say something.
No, I just wanted to say I've just managed to get that book that Josie was on about for £3.57, including postage. So if anyone else is UK based, then it's quite a good deal at the moment from World of Books.
How much was it?
£3.57.
That's really cheap for such a big,
Yeah.
useful book.
Yeah. So yeah.
It's a very good book. It's well worth whatever you pay for it.
Yeah.
Okay then, let's say goodbye and thank you very much for everybody who joined from various places around the world. And I will make a recording. I'll upload the recording of this. Josie will in time upload her lesson plans. Maybe Josie, if you stay on for a couple of minutes, we can just have a quick chat about that. And I'll say goodbye to everybody else.
Okay.
Bye.
Goodbye. Thank you.
Bye bye. Bye.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you,
Bye.
Jimmy.
So, Josie, do you know what you'll make a post and you'll just upload these with a post?
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
what do you want me to upload? All the instructions